off, weapons free, transitioning.
Hi, my name is Ralph. I am 8 years old, and welcome to the Many Hats Club Isolation Con. I'm presenting this today because my daddy doesn't know how.
Well done. Good boy, well done. Hey everybody, welcome finally. That was my son, because I apparently don't know how to present. Welcome to the Many Hats Club Isolation Con. I'm talking to you here from the UK. I am absolutely delighted to be joined by some awesome guests today, and to be joined by so many people across the world. So thank you everyone. This is an amazing event put together in literally a small number of weeks. So we're really, really happy about this. Luckily, you won't have to hear me talk for too long. Well, not just me. I've got three other people join with me to come and kick this conference off. Stuart Coulson, Stu Hurst, and Stuart Wintertier. So they'll be joining me after I do a brief introduction of the con. So we've got quite a jam-packed day over 3 great tracks, and I'm really, really happy and really grateful to the team here at Many Hats Club, who have worked tirelessly through the nights, in some cases very late nights, to put this together so we can provide you with all these great speakers. From the red team side, the blue team and purple team, there are a mixture of very experienced and well-known speakers to people that may be doing their very first conference talk. So there's a really good track put on today for everyone, and there's something for everyone as well. There's some really, really good talks. So please, check those out over the course of the day. And we've also got some other great things lined up as well. So we've got to introduce our keynotes. We have 3 keynotes. So Dave Kennedy with his talk, The Red Pill or the Blue Pill. And that one's kicking off at 4 p.m. UTC on the Red Team channel. We've also got Tanya, She Hacks Purple, doing her talk on Purple is the New Black. And I'm looking forward to that talk as well. And that will be on the Blue Team tack at 7 o'clock UTC. And again, lots to look forward to there. And then actually kicking things off after this little introduction we're doing at 3 p.m. UTC, we've got Ray Redacted with the complete history of hacking and phreaking. So really cannot wait for that as well. And I'll be doing a bit of an intro there. And I've seen some of his stuff as well that he's doing. It proves to be a really in-depth and exciting talk. So there's lots going on. I want to kind of talk a bit about who we are and how this came about, because for anyone who doesn't know the Many Hats Club, we're a Discord community. We've been around for about 2.5 years now, which has absolutely flown by. We're about 8,000, just surpassed 8,000 members, and we're a Discord partner community as well. So we get some cool stuff happening there, and sort of server perks and all this kind of great stuff. But primarily it's about us giving back to the community, about us providing opportunities to people to collaborate, to share ideas. We have a podcast which we've had like a load of guests on, for about 100 episodes in, I think, or something like that. Everyone in the industry you may know, from Tinkersec to Dave Kennedy to some of the podcast guests, actually, and some of the talks we've got today. We have lots of things that we do, and we just want to give back all the time. So we've done charity events before. We co-hosted the Beer Farmers BeerCon 1 last year, which raised lots of money for charity. Before that, Dave Kennedy was very kind to donate us 5 DerbyCon tickets, which we then auctioned off for charity and raised money for Innocent Org, Diana Initiative, and many other kind of organizations as well. So we're always about trying to raise money where we can, and this seemed like a perfect opportunity. So we're really lucky and really thankful for everyone that's actually come here today, who's donated or supported our cause or offered to help. Always participating in the CTF. So people like Offensive Security, who have donated 2 of their kind of PWK vouchers to us. Big shout out to TJ Null. To Point 3 for hosting our CTF. They've done a really awesome job, and that's kicking off quite nicely. I think I saw like 80 plus people have scored so far on that CTF, and I know there's about 150 people signed up plus when I checked last night, so that's really good. And RSS Risk as well, for actually being our very first donator and sponsored donator as well. So really, really thankful. But we're doing this for a reason, and the main reason we're doing this is to raise money for Médecins Sans Frontières, or MSF, or AKA Doctors Without Borders. And we want to raise as much as we possibly can. We have a goal of 10,000. We're currently, I think, about 5.7 or 5.7 something at the moment. I need to check that. It's on the screen, and you guys can see it because you've got the live stream of it. But we want to raise as much money as we can today. So if you can donate anything, any small amount, no matter how much it is, will be really appreciated, because these guys do great work all year round. They're frontline. They're in front of, when there's things like outbreaks, like the COVID-19 outbreak as well, and like Ebola has happened in the past. These are the people, the doctors that go out there and do a lot of that triaging work. They put themselves at risk all the time. And this is actually an email I got back from MSF. So this quote here from Andy Dennis, which you can read. It actually is on sort of Friday night after I'd sort of reached out to them last week, and they sent us a lovely email actually about how thankful they are that we're helping them at the moment. So the more that we can do, the real impact we can actually make. So obviously I'm doing my standing on a soapbox. If you can donate, that'd be great. It's what we're putting this on for free. We're trying to do as much as we can for free, so we can put everything we can into raising money for this great cause. So I just want to thank everyone again. We've had so many donations so far. I just want to thank everyone again who's donated, and it is really, really genuinely appreciated by myself and everyone here who's behind the con. And again, like I said, it isn't just, they don't just do work all over the world, and they do some amazing things. So really, really important part of this conference, and the whole reason we decided to do it as well. We did try and do a con last year, a physical con, and we just realized it was, for a community of our size, that we don't make any money. We're not, a profit organization. We're just a bunch of people working together online to do things, and we have done some quite awesome things recently. But realistically, we tried too big, and to be honest, we kind of failed at that. So I actually thought this year we were going to do a virtual conference, because we're an online community, and with everything that had come up and other virtual conferences that spun up, 3 weeks ago, we decided let's do it. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and we're really, really happy that we've got here. And not just the talks we've got today. There are 2 awesome after party activities that are going to be streamed over 3 channels. So at 21:15 UTC, I'll be proud to announce that the Beer Farmers pub quiz will be going live, and the link to that pub quiz will be dropped into the chat, the Twitch channels, like slightly just before that things go live, so you've got time to create a team or to just sign up to it and see what happens. And we've got some prizes to give away for that as well. Beer Farmers got some merch, and I think I will have a couple of training programs to give away as well for that. So the security company has actually kindly donated 2 training packages, which I'll get into the kind of slide decks for the closing ceremony as well, before the pub quiz kicks off. And then at 10 o'clock UTC, Whitey Cracker has kindly donated his time to do a gig for us. So we absolutely can't wait for that. So it's going to be pretty awesome. We were on a call with them the other day, and yeah, it's going to be absolutely great. So really, really looking forward to it. And again, lots going on. So this is an interactive day as well. So we've got moderators on the Twitch channels. We've got moderators on the Discord channels for people that are listening on Discord. We've got people in our community that have donated their time to really help out. So if you've got questions for anyone during the talks, especially during the keynotes and all this kind of stuff and all the talks, there will be a dedicated compare during those talks. So we've got on the kind of red team channel after this, we've got Ian Thornton Trump and Sean Wright, and also Kim Crawley will be kind of floating around the channels as well. We've got Stu Hurst, who will be doing some stuff on the blue team channel with Mike Thompson from the Beer Farmers. And then we've also got comparing, we've got Andy Zephyrfish, and we've also got Chrissy Morgan, aka Sawfish, joining to do the purple team track. And I'll be floating between the tracks and introducing certain speakers as well. So we've got plenty of people to host to keep the day entertaining, to kind of keep things moving. And we'll all have moderators feeding in channels to that as well. Obviously, we are obviously moderating the chats as well, so try and keep it clean. Anyone that does anything offensive also will be booted off the channels and all that kind of great stuff. We do have code of conduct and all that kind of brilliant stuff to protect people. We're here to have fun. We're here to raise money, but ultimately, we're here to ultimately have a good time as well in this, bring people together and share ideas as part of everyone being stuck at home and all that kind of great stuff. So that was my very quick overview. I said I'd do it in 15 minutes. I did it in 10, so it's more time for us to talk. So we're gonna kick things off with the Stews. So I'll be joined by Stu Hurst, Stuart Coulson, and Stuart Winter-Tier. So hello guys, and I see Stu Hurst is currently cycling on his bike. So
oh yes.
So yeah, that just happened, right? So yeah. So guys, do you want to give a brief intro to yourself as we are Stu Con, I guess? So
I want Stu Hurst to start while he's on his bicycle doing this, because this is just outrageous.
Oh, right. I'm building up quite a sweat here because I've been on for 45 minutes. So hi everyone, thank you for spending time with us today. Thanks to everyone putting this on. It's awesome, really, especially in the short time frame during a crazy time. I am the principal cloud security engineer at Just Eat. You'll see my boss later on, Kevin Fielder, who's on our panel, I think. My background has been with internet companies mainly, for those who don't know who I am, and morphed into cloud security over the last couple of years. Worked with Stu quite a bit on some meetups and things, and great to be part of the community. So thank you all.
Thanks, Stu. Stuart Coulson?
Yeah, so I this year set off on my own as a freelancer, so that worked out well with IR35 and COVID, so that's kind of put a stop to a lot of things. Yeah, unfortunately, I've known Peck for quite a while, haven't I, fella? I'm just trying to work out when I first met you. It's been some time.
I think it was B-Sides Manchester, I think.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, so who am I? I'm a guy who does stuff in cybers like most of you, I suppose. And ladies, of course, as well.
Yeah, and Stuart Winter-Tier?
Yeah, with Iris Risk, really my passion's for secure design and automation, scaling, threat modeling, that sort of thing. So that's me.
Excellent. And I think I introduced myself. I'm Stu. I founded the Many Hats Club 2.5 years ago, and I've been an InfoSec for longer than I care to imagine. But yeah, and do social engineering and all that kind of crazy stuff. So yeah, pretty awesome. Okay, so Mr. Coulson, you had some things you wanted to talk about, maybe to start with, some subjects that you want to kick off.
To give us some stuff to natter about. Anyway, I thought I'd kind of intro. Obviously, there's 4 Stews, so we kind of nicknamed ourselves StewCon. And also kind of there's 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So I have been trying to work out which one's which. I actually spent last night trying to work out which one's death, pestilence, etc. I still not got it really right. So if anyone in the chat wants to put it, which one of us 4 is pestilence, death, etc., go for it. That'd be quite fun. Maybe a Twitter poll or something crazy, because someone's going to do it. I know they will. And Stu Peck will win probably all of them. Obviously, yeah.
About that.
We're in isolation because the weird, wonderful world we're in at the moment. And I suppose the question to StuCon is, how are you actually coping in this weird, wonderful world? And I'm going to ask that to Stego Pats, because you're in a really remote location to where we are. So how's things for you?
Yeah, I am. Thanks, Stuart. I'm in southern Spain, and southern Spain, as you know, had its difficulties, and then went on real lockdown. We can't even go out to exercise or anything. Now, the main difference for me, I was already working remote, so I was already prepared for this, and I'm a bit of a hermit anyway, to be honest. I just am. So it's kind of, in some ways, it's produced the world I rather prefer. I know that sounds sick. You know, I'm pleased that I don't mean to belittle the illnesses and deaths. Of course I don't. But, you know, there's less traffic, everything's clean and clear, and that's lovely in that sense. Of course, the children at home, but I've been teaching Carol, my wife, how to teach now exactly as we are here, and to teach the Spanish teachers to do the same. So in some ways, I quite like it, but I know that sounds a bit horrible to say, so you'll have to forgive me on that one, I'm afraid.
We're all allowed an opinion, so yeah, good opinion. I think we'll go to the next most remote person, which is Scotland, which will be Stu Hurst. He's quite clearly, he's loving this because he's on a sat on a bike instead of doing work.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose similar to Stu in Spain, that I work from home anyway most of the time. So the weekdays haven't been too different in terms of routine and structure. What I would say, and we had a bit of a conversation yesterday when we were testing the audio, that these are by no means normal circumstances.
No.
So just because some of us happen to work from home normally and we continue to do that, I think there's an underlying stress and anxiety anyway amongst everybody. I know for any of you that have been out and about shopping and just trying to do what you need to do, there's a very strange atmosphere out there, as you'd imagine.
Yeah.
It's
Totally.
It's like nothing we've seen before. And I think we're trying to get our day jobs done to the best of our abilities while we maneuver our way through this madness. So I think it's, regardless of if you're quite used to being at home a lot, the fact that you can't get out and have some of those mechanisms normally that you would use, especially at weekends like this, where it's even sunny in Scotland, which frightens me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're just all getting by, aren't we? I think the fact that everybody's in the same position, for me, sort of makes it a little bit easier. It feels like it's not a sliding scale for anybody. It's, everybody's sort of going through the same pain, really. So yeah, trying our best to just get through it.
Absolutely. Stu Peck, obviously we've had Ralph on already, and can we just say massive hats off to your son there. Absolutely nailed it as an opener.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him on stage instead of yourself. No deference to yourself. Just thought Ralph nailed it. How's life with you, with kids at home, trying to do a day job? Because obviously you're full in the middle of business at the moment.
Yeah, I've got 3 kids as well, right? So that's and they're all under 8. Well, yeah, 8, 5, and 3. So yeah, my house is just like a zoo, pretty much, and then it gets trashed, and so yeah, it's good. So for me, it's been quite interesting. So I do work from home occasionally, but given the role that I do, so a lot of the social engineering, the physical social engineering stuff, and I'm quite customer facing, so I'll go do lots of talks and lots of events, and I'll do the consulting with customers. So it's been a real, from a work perspective, it's been a real interesting kind of change, because I've taken over a bigger team recently, and so I've had to consume those and then try and work out, well, how do we do a lot of these services remotely? How do we, and that's been quite easy in some cases, like a governance risk and compliance project where you're kind of going and consulting and doing risk assessments. Well, actually, you can do a lot of that remotely anyway. Obviously, you prefer to do it face to face, but it's actually worked out quite nice. You can do things on Teams or Zoom if they really want to use that. Anyway, and so like it's worked out quite nicely. I did an AppSec talk to like 200 odd developers. And we got a production crew in to kind of, snazz it up a bit and make it look nice. And it works really well. So, we're kind of changing things in a business level to kind of accommodate that, to kind of just get through it and try and work out, well, we can still do stuff. We're still here. From a personal level, I obviously like the traveling. I like the balance between that. And so coming home and being at home all the time has been brilliant. And although my wife says I still don't see the kids enough, which is fair enough because I've been quite busy recently. But and I'd like to do more of that next week after this conference is done. But it's been a bit of a culture shock for me, and mainly the biggest thing I've noticed, which has been quite scary, is that obviously I was in London right up until the literally the days before everything shut down, and you can see people still not wearing masks, still not wearing any PPE, walking around. And then you come down to where I live, in the sticks, the other side of the country, and even yesterday when I went to supermarkets, still no one wearing gloves or masks or any kind of protective equipment. I'm just walking around, and you're thinking, because it's not as prevalent down here, maybe it's in London, maybe there's a slight worry that, oh, we're okay because we're really remote and there's only been like 300-400 cases down here or something like that in the last few weeks. So I think the psychological effect I've seen affect a lot of people in the community. So if you look at like my community, you can see a lot more people under stress and strain and worry. And I think there's that undertone that Stu Hurst mentioned, that these are unusual circumstances. And I think, we just have to kind of work out, okay, mentally we have to stay strong and realize this will pass eventually. And we have to work out how we can get through it, to come out the other side with our mental health intact as well.
Yeah, and we obviously will come out of this. This will end. It's what the world and our industry looks like when that happens. We can't be the only company, that the one that I work for, where an awesome tech company anyway, but we fundamentally shifted from being a global business in offices to fully remote within 10 days. And we had a lot of the tech to cater for that, even though there was a lot of internal work that went on with some great teams. But we've proved that we can run a business now during a crisis remotely. And I just wonder what that's going to mean for the next stages of not just my company, but every kind of tech organization or internet-facing kind of organization. It'll be interesting to see.
I think that's the interesting thing. You just said it then about how this is almost like the new normal, and I'm really interested to ask. I'm probably Stu Hershey, you're probably given the great example to start with. Is this the new normal? Do we think post-COVID and all this craziness we're in at the moment? Do we actually think this will be new? This what we will now do from here on? Will we just live at home and actually we can get rid of these great big corporate office blocks of cost a fortune to run, and maybe we see business move to this?
It's going to be difficult to argue against it because we've proven it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a bit of a catch-all phrase there. I'm sure a lot of businesses are finding it very difficult for lots of reasons, but fundamentally, many will keep going and maneuver their way through those problems. So.
There's going to be significant changes, that's for sure. But then we do have to factor in those folk that genuinely like to go to the office. They go to work for social reasons as well. I find that's not necessarily a big factor in our industry, and we probably know why. But there are folk that are going to want to go back. And so I think we will see change, perhaps not everybody, but I don't think we're coming out of this in the same world as we went into it personally.
I think there'll be a remote working revolution. I think this will be the sign. A lot of companies, and actually, if you look at business continuity, I was talking on a podcast a few weeks ago about business continuity planning and stuff like this, and about the fact that a lot of people like actually realizing their continuity plan wasn't fit for purpose. It was all theory until they actually put it into practice, like properly into practice.
The government.
We got this covered, and then we haven't really got this covered. We're just going to spend lots of money on stuff that gets wasted. But I think that kind of has made people realise that actually these plans are actually quite useful, and maybe that's a way that they want to revisit these things. But we'll see a lot of change after this, because some organisations who've gone through this, who've actually fared fairly well, will go, well, actually, that wasn't much of a headache. Yes, we might have to respec things for continuous kind of working this way. Maybe we'll have a percentage of our workforce that can work as much as they want from home, and maybe a percentage that split their time a bit more with that flexibility that comes in mind. And then maybe some organizations may just go to kind of that hot desking methodology, where they're just going to have like a hot desk office where people can pop in, pop out when they want. And I think that's quite nice. And some organizations have that anyway, right? A lot, I can be remote as much as I want, and driven by projects mainly. But if I haven't got projects, I can choose to go to work in London or wherever, or stay at home. And so, I think it's important where it's flexible to do that those opportunities are there, and I think that's really going to help things moving forward. I think in terms of.
And just before we move, of course, sorry, after you, Hosty.
Yeah, sorry, no, just Adam on Twitch was asking specifically about the company I work for, but just wondering if there'll be upticks in attack vectors and things, and that's an interesting one as our organizations move from being less remote to semi-remote or even fully for a lot. It's difficult to know just now, but I'm sure we're going to see a few different things.
I do expect the big comms when they all come back online later on the year, and I'm not going to name them because you all know who they are, but the big one that's at Excel is going to be extra backslappy, amazingly huggy, and really, really handshaky, because we've missed the physical contact of going up to people, hi, oh my God, how are you doing? We've missed it, and I really do see it's going to be extra huggy and extra backslappy this year. Just moving topic, I wanted to ask a question about what have you now discovered as a new tool or a new something that you're now doing that you've picked up as a result of all this working from home? For me, for example, Zoom, as much as we want to tear this thing apart, actually getting in touch with my family has been so much easier because of Zoom. Trying to get them to go through the rigmarole of Skype and all the other tools out there has been painful. And I think understanding the fact that there are some people out there who aren't technically able like us to get to use technology, that's been a revolution. To literally click on something within a minute or so, you are now having a live conference call with my dad and my mom, who are literally just technically dead. Sorry if they're watching this, but just the ability to do that for me, Zoom, they do get a plus point for me. They really do. What about you, Stu Pet? What about you? What have you picked? New tools, new anything that you picked up?
For me, it's been so many. So I think really for me, I'll go specifically into some of the stuff I've been doing. So 2 week, was it last week? Maybe a weekend before, first week of April or something. I participated in the Trace Labs OSINT Global CTF, right, with three other people from here, and we won that 3 years in a row.
Nice.
Strange flex. Anyway, but actually, to us, I don't know how we won it 3 years in a row, but we did. And for me, it's like I with all that extra time working from home and mixing in evenings prepping for this and trying to look at no tools. So there's been some really good like facial recognition software that we've used, and
Cool.
we kind of gelled our processes around how we did the open source intelligence work, the OSINT. And really just kind of for me it was about kind of having that time and flexibility where I'm not traveling, that I can do that research and really invest more time in it. And I think for me it's more, rather than tools, it's more the time to research has really benefited me, that I can pick out the tools that I want, test them, go, that works for me, or test some new processes or new techniques. So it's more techniques than tools actually for me. Being able to test things I've been thinking about for ages, but never really had the time because I've been running around like a blue-ass fly, or just spending 90% of my time on a train or a plane or something like that. So
it's called life. That gets in the way of everything.
Yeah, I know. It's just travel. I've worked out. I've got something like, because my travel to work from where I live to get to London, if I'm just going London, it's about 4.5 hours, 5 hours door to door. One way, so 10 hours a week traveling, plus the traveling I do when it's a minimum of 10 hours a week, right? Minimum, if I don't travel anywhere else, so I don't go to Europe or anything. So I've got an extra 10 hours that is almost dead time in the evenings, right? That I could spend obviously with my family, but also doing research and stuff like that. So I've used that time that I would have been spent on a train, probably standing in some cases, actually doing something. So that's been the biggest benefit to me, really.
Spot on. Stego, what about you? Tools, tips, tricks, techniques, or
very similar to you, actually, Stuart. I was already, you got to remember, I was already remote, so I was used to this. But because of the outrage of what happened to Zoom and their perhaps questionable privacy, they've been forced to improve, and that has helped me a lot, because now I can use it and it's much more stable. So I'm pleased from that regard. Also, I have a 20-year-old son, didn't quite make it out of York University on the final flight. So it's a godsend to be able to talk to him face to face. It makes a difference. Yeah. Oh, you could say, oh, well, you're not together. It's not the same. Well, if this is your only option, then I would rather have this option, to be honest. And it's worked out very well. So I'm very similar to you. And I would, I would also agree with the time aspect. I work. We're all different. We all excel at different times of the day. For example, I'm not necessarily a morning person. Let me just be honest about that. But I'm quite happy to talk to America at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. That's fine by me. And I feel pretty switched on then. So, as I say, it's a world I'm sort of warming to quite a lot, and it has had the benefit with my son, as well. So. Yeah.
Big shout out to your son, obviously stuck up in York. If he's watching this, and if he's not, why not? But and I hope he's keeping safe up there. Hursty, what about you? You've obviously got so much tech to your fingertips at the moment, and more of it flowing towards you every minute, with vendors obviously knocking on your door. We'll come to those in a minute. But what about you? What's new in your world that you've really warmed to as a result of this?
So I suppose, just to echo what you guys have said, really, I'm not sure there's anything that's come along that's particularly new from a tech point of view yet, but it's more behavioral things, and you've touched on it, really. It's, I've got family in New Zealand that we connect with far more than we did until this happened. Saturday night pub thing with my mates, where I think we socialize more at the moment than we have for a decade or plus. And then more for the kids, right? So I've got a 3-year-old at home, and she does like a ballet class during the week. They've moved all of that online within a fortnight, which I know the tech's fairly simple, but for them to have the foresight and the pace to do that and keep these things running, even if they're just little classes for the kids that keep them interested, that's been the important thing. On a day-to-day level, again, I sort of work similarly during this as I do normally. It's not a strict 9 to 5. I'm very good at taking time out these days for exercise, and I know we can't really go anywhere, but just trying to fill time with a few other things that are a bit more.
Have you started doing a lot more exercise now that you're at home? Because obviously you're sat on your bike now, and are you doing more exercise?
It's hard to find the time anyway. I think I'm forcing myself now because it is a bit of a tough time, stress wise, maybe anxiety wise, and it's always been my go-to thing for mental health anyway. I'll talk about it a little bit. So I'm definitely forcing myself where other days I might have just went, sod it, I'll just do something else.
I must admit, post-COVID, we're either going to come out this as grossly obese or mega fit.
The flip side is I'm eating loads of crap at night.
Okay,
and then,
votes. Who's going to come out this heavier than when they started?
I think I've had a beer every Friday, Saturday for the last 3 weeks as well, which I've not done for 3-4 years.
Absolutely. You mentioned mental health there, Stu. Hurst. Obviously, kind of mental health is big in our industry to start with, and I know that this is going to hit quite a few people hard because they've now disengaged from their colleagues. They are now only able to remote. They may be working from home on their own, which is, again, it's all bad stuff that would just add into the pile. I know from my perspective, I've managed to maintain positive mental health through a lot more writing, which I found really comforting to do, and simply just having the family around. I mean, they're all running around the house. Just that door there. I'm glad it's as soundproof as it is, because they have just legged it downstairs. I just thought someone had actually fallen downstairs before. But I've noticed that I'm probably in a better place because I have got my family around me, and that's helping me cope with what we don't know how long this is going to be. Any tips, tricks from yourselves, or how you're coping, or what's your coping mechanism that you're using? And it obviously, I know it's kind of a personal thing. If it's something you're not comfortable with, stuff that maybe you've read that you think's relevant. I'll start with Stegopax in this one.
Keep a routine. Thanks for asking. Keep a routine. It's absolutely imperative. I know it sounds silly. Get up, get ready for the day. Okay, even if you're not leaving the house. These psychological routines, we are creatures of routine, but we don't realize. Now, if we start to let them slip, our minds start to slip with it, and we can start getting down, and we don't, I don't know why it works. I'm not a psychologist, but I've tried not keeping a routine, and it's very easy to slip into getting down. So keep a routine and stick to it. That's my advice.
Absolutely. Stu Peck, big nods there.
Yeah. Routine is quite important, actually. I couldn't agree more. From a mental health perspective as well, it is the exercise bit. So I had some pretty big projects coming up recently, and I had multi projects one time, and I would spend from 7 a.m. until 10, 11 o'clock at night at my office. And I'd look up, and because I sometimes get in the zone where I'm just doing something, and I'll forget to eat or drink. Sometimes I'll have a drink in my office, but I'll forget to drink or eat something, and I'll look up, and it's my God, it's 6 p.m, and the day's gone, and I haven't done any exercise, and I'll just crack on for a bit, and I'll do some exercise. And so the exercise kind of goes away. I think it's the taking the break, mental break, stepping away and not actually working ridiculous hours, because you can, right? Because you could do that, and you could just literally sit here, especially when we're busy, and the pressure of everyone's under pressure from a work perspective to try and keep things going. So I think that kind of is quite important, but at the same time, it's the connection issue as well. So if you can have sessions like this, or you can connect to people, whether that is on or even just a DM someone on Twitter, or just a quick Zoom call or voice chat on Discord or something like that. So you've still got that human connection, especially if you're remote. Totally. So if you're without family and you're stuck out somewhere and you're stuck by yourself, this is quite a harrowing time. And a lot and if you're just bombarded by the negative news stories that you're hearing every day, that is going to get you down. That is going to have a mental effect. So reach out to people on Twitter, or reach out to, or if you are struggling, say I'm struggling, and people will help. And I think that's what's good about our community, because we all understand, InfoSec can be quite challenging normally, and can be quite stressful normally. So being able to go and say, hey, I'm struggling, or I'm not having a good time, and knowing people are there, is quite a nice thought. So I think, if you see someone struggling as well, and you think they're struggling and then they're a bit off, then don't hesitate to reach out to them and DM them and say, how's your day going?
I was going to say, I think all four of us are DMs open, aren't we? I seem to remember have seen it, and I know Stu Hurst, just moving on to you, I know you've really been a big advocate of this, and I know that you're your physical exercise has been a really big help for your mental health.
Yeah.
You keeping going?
Yeah, so I've talked a lot over the last maybe 18 months about mental health and well-being and been on a few webinars and various things. But I want to caveat it with, I don't actually feel that I've had too much in the way of struggles with mental health. But what I have been has been in reasonably stressful environments, as Stuart Peck's just alluded to, in the jobs that we've had. I've had friends go through some really bad stuff where you sort of see their learning curves and the things that they've used. And then you have your good days and bad days like any human being. But what it is a topic that sort of fascinates me about how individuals get through certain things and how they're able to use different mechanisms. We did a mental health panel at the Digit Expo up in Edinburgh at the end of last year, and it was just phenomenal. We had a professor from Glasgow Uni, we had a HR rep who was a mental health first aider, and then a couple of people from the industry. And there was some great advice and some great chat about the triggers and how things can escalate, and then some of the ways to make it easier. And we had some really interesting content, and it was different for each person. So it wasn't as if there was a one-size-fits-all thing. We had Rory Alsop, who runs B-Side Scotland and really active in the community, talking about the fact he loves to keep busy. His mechanism is working a lot, actually. It's not the downtime. It's not the holidaying or whatever. He loves his work, and that's what takes him into his happy place. And for a lot the rest of us, it's either exercise or being with family or a combination of different things. For me, I've always trained, I've always done that exercise. I'm getting old and slow these days, but it's always been my go-to thing to take my brain somewhere else, and I always feel better afterwards. So difficult to stop doing that when it's an addiction really of its own.
Okay, so old and slow just said it. In a race, out of us four, I would put you at the front. Okay, just saying that now.
For sure.
You're the only one sat on a bicycle this second.
I agree with you.
So I'm going to switch tone a bit. Let's have a bit of fun with this. So we've all been stuck inside, and the big 43-inch plasma in the corner has been beckoning. What have you been watching that either A, you've regretted starting watching, going, why did I get into this series? I want to stop it now. Or have you watched something you thought, TV, film, whatever it is, and you thought, that's actually really fairly decent? Anyone got any TV, film recommendations or things to avoid?
For me, I'm only halfway through it, so don't give away the ending. That Tiger thing on Netflix, wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one on my to-do list. I'm in the middle of something at the moment, which I'll come to in a moment. But yeah, that Tiger one does fascinate me. What about you, Stego?
Sorry, mate.
No, I just finished off Chapo, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I've no idea why. I've started to really enjoy watching foreign films with British subtitles. No idea why, but nice. I've done a lot of that this season. So yeah,
Chapo's decent. That is fairly decent. 10 points for that.
Really.
What about you? Pecky, go on.
Yeah, so I've been
Peppa
rewatching. Yeah, it's mainly Peppa Pig. Yeah, and I've got all the kids into a lot of the Ghibli Studio stuff. So I've been watching Spirited Away, and I've been watching Howl's Moving Castle, and what the other Princess Mononoke, and all the they're all on Netflix. And I was like, oh my god, the kids love it. I love these films.
Awesome.
Maybe Princess Mononoke's a little bit like violent right at the beginning when some arrows shoot some arms and the head off, but you scrape over those bits, right? They're okay. They're like, right, and like the rest of it's okay. But even though it says it's a PG and it's it's be fine, and you realise, okay, maybe that's a PG from 10 years ago. Actually, my kids have been getting to a lot of older films as well, so if you get into like Jurassic Park and stuff like this, like classic Jurassic Park, which is again actually it's PG and it's actually quite gross in places, but and then for me personally, I've been rewatching The Witcher and stuff like this, and also The Tiger King. I won't ruin it for anyone, but a lot of the stuff, one of the people that may have disappeared as part of that, and the investigation was going into, was actually included as part of our CTF that for Trace Labs. That person got included, although I don't think anything got found without giving too much away. So yeah, very much like the case. The Tiger King's actually opened a lot of people's imagination. Actually, I really like it. I find it really, like, I gotta say, I find it really interesting. Just the level of like how it just escalates, and just I just find myself just laughing, just over the ridiculousness of the whole thing. But so things like that. I'm going like the classic routes and stuff like this. I love my anime, so being able to show my kids some of the kind of cool like anime stuff that's going on. And then more recently, I've been getting into the Alter Carbon stuff again. So I rewatched season 1 and 2 of that because I love those shows.
New season just started, hasn't it? Just started. Was it
Yeah,
last week?
Alter Carbon 2. Yeah, it's been around for a little bit. It's been out for a few weeks, but yeah, it's
Okay.
not as good as the first one. But yeah, so I've not been watching too much, but I always watch something before I go to bed. So and I usually fall asleep to it. But yeah, that's kind of my thing.
So
There's
I'm
a
saying
thing-
she's. Oh, go on. Sorry, Hosty, after you.
I was just going to mention something else. That I'm a bit of a space geek, so I watch a whole load of stuff to do with the Apollo missions and things. And there's Apollo 11, I think it's on Netflix or Amazon, and it's a documentary, but there's no narration over the top of it. It's all in the timeline of it happening, with lots of unseen footage and unheard Houston control stuff, and it's just fascinating to watch. I mean, everybody knows the ending,
Absolutely.
right? But
Did they get there?
if you
Honestly,
believe it,
we
yeah.
don't know. Everyone put your tinfoil hats on. Did they get there? I would definitely. So we, me and the missus, decided that we're going to start introducing our kids some of the proper old classics. So we start with Flash Gordon, proper Flash Gordon on DVD. It's a genuine version. Can I just say the most inappropriate movie I have ever watched with the child?
Oh yes.
There were so many fast forwards. It was as our memories of these older things definitely don't stack up to PG nowadays. Here, have this tablet. Have this tablet, it'll help you forget your wedding night. Pardon?
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
So Ghostbusters has some appropriate scenes, and I watched the mask, right? Jim Carrey's The Mask, right?
Yep.
Oh my god, that's so it's inappropriate and like misogynistic today as well. It's like really bad. It's just like I watched it and went, this film would never get made today. Like it's just like offend everyone. It's just so. I think we forget that. I think we become desensitized when you watch those 80s films, right? Incredibly violent and incredibly inappropriate, right? And then 90s films push that a little bit further with the inappropriateness, but less violent in some cases.
Yeah.
And then today, it's like people outcry when they see like depictions of women in certain inappropriate ways, and you're thinking, just look at the 90s films. Like it's like just to be outcrying everywhere, because I think we forget that times have changed so much in a good way, and I think this is a great thing.
I agree.
Most of our 80s TV presenters are in jail now, so
That's true.
maybe says it all about our generation.
That says a lot. It does.
Our whole industry, pretty much. Yeah.
The other thing that we started doing is we tried to do a bit of culture with the kids and watch that Andrew Lloyd Webber. They're doing live stage productions that they're putting back on a Friday night on YouTube. And the first one we watched was Jesus Christ Superstar, I think it was. No, it wasn't. It was the other one. Yeah, Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat. And the lead character, me and the missus sat there going, I recognise him from somewhere. And it was, I can't remember his name. It was perfect white teeth in a straight line. Next minute, it cuts to a scene. It's got Joan Collins in a fishnet body stocking. You're like, whoa, stop this right now. Last night, Friday, we watched, and please, if anyone's in the chat and saw it, I'd recommend go back and watch it. If you've got small kids, don't let them watch it. It was Phantom of the Opera, and it was fantastic. Apart from my 8-year-old has now been sleeping in our bed for 2 nights because she's having nightmares about the guy with the mask on coming out to get her, and the guy hanging on his neck for 3 minutes. Not good for kids. But no, I've got to say, we're now trying to stop the kids from just sitting watching telly all day. Then we're actually trying to have movie nights and stuff, and that's worked out quite well. I've discovered some good stuff. Spirited Away is actually on our to-do list of ones to watch. I noticed some people in the chat gave a really big shout out for that one. So so well done. Yeah, good. Mr. Robot's coming up a lot in the chat. I noticed as well. I kind of got to season 3 and went, I'm getting bored of this now.
Yeah, I did.
Season 4 got the latest season got a lot better actually, because I almost gave up on it and I thought I'll give the last season a go. Actually, really good at the end. So I think it's worth persevering through. The first season will always be the best, right? But it got better. I think that this is the thing. We're quite spoiled with our TV at the moment. I think I remember when there was Channel 5 came on, and that was amazing. Another channel. Oh my god. We got 5 channels now, guys. And I remember when it started, I was like, I must have been quite young, but I was thinking, oh, this is amazing. 5 channels. We forget, we grew up on TV was like your choice was just nothing, right? Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today it's too much, and I think I'm going to bring this back to InfoSec, right? And this kind of brings me back to like where we are today. That if most of us started out, there was nothing, right? You'd want to go learn something about InfoSec. #old. Okay. You'd learn something about it, and you'd have to go to forums, and people would gatekeep the knowledge, and you have to push really hard to find stuff, and like BBS or IRC and all that kind of stuff. You'd have to really push hard to find anything on this stuff, and it was all kind of like a secret kind of treasure you have to unlock, right? You had to prove yourself that you actually knew something, and now, if you fast forward to now, it's it's all out there. GitHub, Kali repos, amazing.
Yeah, and do you think obviously a lot of the big conferences are being cancelled for this summer, and there's been online stuff anyway. Do you feel that the industry is going to move more towards catering for a lot of that anyway? Because I know Amazon and the big names, tend to do online at the same time, but this kind of thing with a few hundred people with some really good content, there's a hell of a lot of this anyway. But it could be awesome if we could, we've talked about the meetups that we run, that to open them up to the world rather than just the little country that we live in, just has such a massive impact.
I think the DC cons will do phenomenally out of this, because all of a sudden, if I can't make a DC con, if you've now got this as an alternative form, I think it'd be superb. I'd love to go to some of the other DC cons around me. DC 141 can just, they're just, you never get to them. And if it was in this format, I would be able to get to them and actually be able to go and see other cons as well, which I think would be fairly cool. But yeah, I don't think the big stuff like the InfoSecs and stuff like and I don't think those will happen. I think that it will stay. I think the big ones will still stay like that. But I think smaller cons, I think, would be brilliant like this. I'm not saying B-sides would be good like this, though. I think B-sides would be a bit more tricky to do like this. But I think this would be good. So,
okay.
What about you?
Yeah. Okay. I'm a bit biased because I've set up a virtual conference, right? So yeah, everyone should go virtual, right? Or maybe no one should go virtual. We should keep doing this. So there's a DerpCon reached out to me last week, and they want to put our con on the back of their t-shirt and stuff like this, because they are like, look, another virtual con. There's not many of them out there. Now when we started doing it, there was like the Hacks Pancakes Con, and there was a couple others, right? The Grim Con had gone virtual, and so I think there's an appreciation that conferences will say, well, do we really need a venue? Do we really, I'm a big believer of that certain conferences should have a venue, right? Yeah. So DEF CON, Black Hat, that kind of stuff, right? Germ factories, right? Where FluCon actually meant something, right? Conflu meant something, sorry. But I think it's important to get a mass group of people together face to face. There's something special about that. And I think we shouldn't move away from it, because you create memories and you create experiences, and you make friendships, right, from people that you talk to online. And I think that's always going to be there, right? And I think we shouldn't take that away. But what this does, what the virtual conferences I found, I mean, bear in mind, we spent nothing, right? We spent a little bit, but not much, right? Putting this together. So we've just put our resources, our expertise, we've used platforms. So the cost of doing this is literally very, very little, right? And we've managed to raise money, and we've got people donating and stuff, because we're doing it for free and we're doing it for a good cause, right? So why can't more people do that? If you've got the right people and you've got the right technical expertise, why can't you put in your own con? And I think that reduces the barrier to entry, because when we tried to put on the first con that we tried to do, we were looking at like 30 grand plus for the venue. And we're like, it's really expensive, right? And so we looked at it and actually that venue then went out of business. So we actually dodged a massive bullet. That would have been an absolute disaster. So actually, in hindsight, actually this is a pretty good thing. But and so I think a lot of venues are going to have to start thinking about, well, this could impact their business. But for anyone out there who wants to do this, just do it. I mean, I think if you've got an idea and it's slightly different. I mean, there was the one Oasis Con yesterday, right? In virtual reality, right? Whole conference in virtual reality, speaker stage, their slides on, and everyone is like, a lot of VR kind of like, people. Pardon my French. I love that. Right? I was the first person to F-bomb on here at my own conference. So there you go. Well done. I'll put myself in the swear jar.
Can we have Ralph back, please?
Yeah.
Honorary stew.
We'll put the professional on and just leave the amateur here, right? I thought that was such a great idea, and I think that could be the way things go. So I think that actually worked really well. So to answer your question without taking up too much time, I think we'll see a lot more virtual cons now. And I think there'll be a good balance between people having virtual cons where it's professionally done, and then the standard cons will still go on because they have to, right? Because they're part of the DNA of this industry.
Yeah, I massively. I mean, I'm a conference goer, as most people know me from, and I'm always at the cons. And I actually think this will help. But I do want to start my physical conferences. There's still something about having the tactile environment of a conference. You know, getting flu off your mate is always a part of your conference season. But I'm fascinated by the VR con. I think that's superb. What a great use for VR. I've always looked for a use for VR. VR for me has been something that's just a technology that needs to be implemented somehow. And I've never seen it a good use. And I think virtual VR conference, what a way forward that'd be. That'd be brilliant.
Well, Stuart, I mean, you, Coulson, you probably know me the best. And the truth of the matter is that I'm in real life, I'm very shy. And, you know, to a certain degree, I don't like to admit it, but socially awkward. This is ideal for me. Look at me. I've gone from the person that my wife calls me a wallflower. It sort of like blends into the corner somewhere and can't be seen, to the person that's out the front, because I do have something to say. So you can see that flip side as well, and just me down to the ground. And I suspect there's more people like me. I don't think I'm the only one. So I think this is gonna open up for a new set of people to come and be comfortable in these environments. I hope so. I hope so anyway.
Okay.
I think it's a fantastic message. That really is.
So we've got 5 minutes left. So I think we should probably do closing comments because I've got another slide to show for people. So what's your I guess, Stu, because you've asked all the questions, I'm going to ask a question now. Feel back into podcast mode. Stuart Coulson, what's been your biggest takeaway from this whole experience?
From this isolation con?
We
need to do more StuCon of these. We need to do more StuCon of these. We need to have a chat more between ourselves and extend it out to the wider community as well. I do miss chatting to your mates, just even if it's across the desk and in the office, or even if it's just having a chat with someone online. I do miss those moments. So this has been brilliant. Really loved it. More of this, please.
Definitely. Stick up
next month.
More of the same. More of the same. The more the better. I'm with Stuart Coulson there. Yeah, absolutely.
Stu Hurst.
Yeah, I mean, look at what's happening, right? This is, I know that it's an overused word in what we're going through, but unprecedented. We're having to fix problems globally we've never faced before at all sorts of levels, tech, right through to mental health, well-being, family, and all that we're doing here, all that we're putting together for our industry and the people that work with us is phenomenal. We're not always going to get it right. There's going to be some tough days. And I think we'll look back on this generally with pride about how we've conducted ourselves and the things that we've put together and the things that we've contributed as individuals and as groups. So I'm a fairly positive person anyway, right? We'll come through the end of this and we'll look back, there'll be learnings and our industry will kind of grow from it rather than because of it.
And we're already on I was going to say, we're already on 50% of your target, 5,856.
Wow.
10,000.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I was going to ask.
That's why we should have more of these.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, everyone who's just donated, and I'm sure I don't know if everyone knows, but basically, I decided, and the guys decided that every time someone donates, the staff and the moderators are going to post a meme of me on Twitter with tagging that person that donates in. So there's been quite a few memes of me going around, and by the way, there's a massive like backload of them. So there's more memes than I can count, and there's more being created just in case we run out. So that's so good. So yeah, I mean, it's all for a good cause, right? So it's not like I don't mind being memes because it happens every day. So yeah, I think to kind of summarize this before I kind of close this off, I think this to me has kind of made you realize the best of people. And it also brings out the worst in people, the cyber criminals and all this kind of stuff, right? And like the Chinese, like I think they say the two words for kind of crisis, and one of them is opportunity, or where there's danger, there's opportunity, basically, right? And I think there's always an opportunity for people to do good, but there's also a massive opportunity for people to do bad. And I think what we've got to realize is, and this is a big shout out to the CV19 people, so the Lisa, Dan Card and all that kind of stuff are doing the work there. They've taken an opportunity to help protect those assets where people would likely do bad. And I think this has brought out loads of great things in the community. And I think that's what makes us great as a community, that we will identify things. For me, I'm obviously helping them a little bit as well. But putting on a conference and trying to raise money for a charity that is also doing good is one way of doing it. The other way is to actually help protect the assets from the NHS and things like this, and healthcare from being targeted as well, which is happening in some countries as well. So I think we all have to kind of pull together, and we all have to roll our sleeves up and do what we can in our work. And also where we're in the community, we have to pull our sleeves up as well. So I think I am out of time, or almost out of time. Yes, I have got 1 minute. So on that note, thank you very much, guys. And you've got 5 minutes time. There's a handover between tracks. You've got the red team track for like the main event for the red team stuff that's coming up. You've got the blue team track, obviously with the talks coming up. I've got the keynote on I thought Dan Raywood. I think we've got I don't know who we've got coming up first. So I haven't got a schedule in front of me. And we've also got another track. I've got a purple team track as well. So pick your track. Each track actually on Twitch has got the schedule on there, so you can see which talks are coming up. And I can just go back here, can't I? And be really go right to the beginning. Look at that, boom. Okay, yeah, Osoku on that track, Osoku, and also Dan Raywood talking about his bit for half an hour, and then Ray Redacted. I should have put that at the end. Why didn't I do that? Never mind. That's what happens doing production. Thank you to my 3 co-hosts, Stego Pack, Stuart Coulson, Stu Hurst. Thank you. I'm Stu. I'll see the other Stu.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And thank you. And that's it.
Stay safe, everyone.
Okay,
Yep.
broadcast code.